In the heart of northern England, where mist lingers over the fields and time itself seems reluctant to move forward, there once lay a quiet village known as Eldridge Hollow. It wasn't a place of note. No great battles were fought there, no famous men were born there, and no stories were told beyond its boundaries. But those who lived there swore it was a peaceful place, a sanctuary from the chaos of the outside world. The people of Eldridge Hollow lived simple, rhythmic lives. Each morning, the blacksmith's hammer echoed through the narrow streets. Children played by the well, their laughter carried by the wind. Farmers worked the soil, bakers filled the air with the scent of warm bread, and the old church bell tolled every hour, keeping time in a world that never hurried. At dusk, golden light spilled from the windows of cottages, and the townsfolk would gather in the square, sharing stories by lamplight. It was said that the stars shone brighter over Eldridge Hollow than anywhere else, as if even the heavens had chosen to linger a little longer above it. Then, one gray morning in 1821, a shepherd named Thomas Becket was guiding his flock across the valley when he noticed something strange. The smoke that usually rose from the chimneys of Eldridge Hollow was missing. The fields were quiet. Even the birds seemed to avoid the air above the town. Curious, Thomas led his horse down the narrow trail and crossed the small stone bridge into the village. What he found chilled him to the bone. The streets were silent. The doors of every house were open. Food sat on tables, still fresh. A teapot steamed gently on a stove, as if it had been poured moments before. But there was no one, not a voice, not a movement, not even the scurrying of a rat. He stepped inside the first cottage and found a family of 4 sitting around the table, asleep. Their eyes were closed, their heads bowed as if in prayer. Their breathing was faint but steady. They looked peaceful, too peaceful. Thomas called out their names. He knew them all, but none stirred. When he tried to shake them awake, their skin was warm but unyielding, as if their souls were trapped somewhere far beyond reach. Panicked, he ran to the square and found the same scene repeating everywhere. The baker slumped over his counter, the blacksmith sitting before his anvil, hammer still in hand. Children lying in the grass, eyes closed, faces calm. Even the dogs and horses were asleep, frozen in place. By nightfall, word had reached the neighboring towns. The following morning, doctors, priests, and local officials arrived to investigate. They searched every inch of Eldridge Hollow, the school, the church, the fields, but everywhere was the same, stillness. The doctors found the townspeople alive, their hearts beating slowly, their pulses faint. Their bodies were warm. They were neither dead nor in any coma known to medicine. Whatever afflicted them was beyond understanding. The priests were convinced it was divine punishment, that the villagers had turned their hearts from God. They built a wooden cross in the town square and prayed day and night, but nothing changed. The sleepers remained untouched by time. It was then that an elderly woman from a neighboring hamlet came forward. She claimed to have seen a stranger visiting Eldridge Hollow the night before the Great Sleep. She described him as tall and gaunt, dressed in a weathered cloak that shimmered oddly in the lamplight. His face was hidden by a wide-brimmed hat, but his eyes, she said, glowed silver, like moonlight on water. He had arrived at the town's inn at dusk, asking for food and shelter. The innkeeper's daughter, a young woman named Clara Wren, had served him stew and bread. She later told her father that the stranger spoke in riddles, asking her strange questions. Do you ever wish the world would stop moving? Would you rest if you could rest forever? She laughed, thinking him mad, and told him that everyone dreams of peace sometimes. He smiled, finished his meal, and said softly, "Then rest?" That was the last thing anyone remembered. For nearly a century, Eldridge Hollow vanished from maps. The forest crept in, swallowing the roads and fields. The valley became a forbidden place. Travelers spoke of unease, of whispers in the trees, of soft breathing that wasn't their own. It wasn't until 1923 that a group of explorers rediscovered the town, perfectly preserved. The air was cool and dry. Moss had grown thick on the walls, but the town itself had not aged. Inside the cottages, candles still burned faintly, their flames dim but alive. The people were still there, sleeping as they had been left, untouched, unchanged, unrotted. The food on the tables had not spoiled, the flowers in vases had not wilted. Time itself had stopped within Eldridge Hollow. Among the sleepers, the explorers found Clara, still sitting by the window of the inn. In her lap rested a small, leather-bound book. The ink on its cover had faded, but 3 words were still visible. When you wake. The scientists who examined the site could not explain what they found. Carbon dating made no sense. Wood, fabric, and bone all resisted decay. They called it a temporal anomaly. But some of the men who entered the town spoke of something else, of faint voices whispering their names, of soft sighs behind them, of footsteps that vanished when they turned around. One man, a historian named Harold Lenton, spent weeks studying the phenomenon. He wrote in his journal, "It is not sleep as we understand it. It is preservation, waiting. The town is not dead nor alive. It is suspended, and perhaps it is listening." Then one evening, Harold disappeared. His tent, his equipment, his notes, all left behind. The only thing found near his camp was a single footprint leading toward Eldridge Hollow. In the years that followed, the government declared the area restricted. They claimed it was unstable ground, prone to sinkholes. But locals know better. Hunters who wander too close claim they hear faint church bells ringing under the fog. Some say they've seen candles glowing faintly in the windows once more. One traveler who ventured too close in 1972 reported something even stranger. He swore he saw the people of Eldridge Hollow, awake, children running, the baker opening his shop, the sound of laughter and music echoing through the valley. But when he blinked, the scene was gone. The town was silent again. He fled that night, but later told friends that he couldn't sleep for weeks. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard a woman's voice whispering, "It's time to wake up." And then, just as suddenly as it had reappeared, the voice stopped. Today, Eldridge Hollow remains sealed off, hidden beneath layers of mist and legend. Some say the people are still there, sleeping, not cursed, but waiting for the moment the rest of the world is ready to join them. Others say they already have awakened and simply walked into another century, unseen. No one knows the truth. But every year, on the anniversary of that strange morning in 1821, the wind that blows through the valley carries a sound faint and haunting. The toll of a church bell, the whisper of laughter, the stir of life in a place where time once stood still. And if you ever find yourself walking through northern England on a foggy night and the air suddenly feels heavy and your watch stops ticking, you might want to turn back. Because if the stories are true, Eldridge Hollow doesn't just sleep, it waits.